mea culpa, maybe. Perhaps it would be in order to do some penance. I mean, I use the word jumping from the point in time I'm trying to talk about to the present, and moaning, whining, complaining about what's going on, the fact that there are some things that could be considered adversity, the fact that I hear quite often, well, for about a week, 10 days, I don't know, I don't hear anything because there's no talk, no words anymore. But generally, I hear how lousy, loser, lazy, L, only L, the bastard, insensitive, selfish, list is long, I am. And then I think, well, it's not such a good feeling to hear that, and do I really deserve it? And then I realize, yeah, well, I've been I have been doing many bad things. And so, in other words, many of these episodes try and mention so many sex encounters which were limitless, and then there's also this feeling that yes, indeed, in compensation, I look at the past and find refuge there, apply that positive psychology, happiness law, reminisce, think of the good things of the past, so that you add to the pleasure you must find in the present, or compensate, to repeat that notion, for the harm, the sorrow of the present, if that is the word. And then many exploits are mentioned, many encounters, little stories with that, the other woman. There is also the question of so many that have been, maybe some of them, seduced and abandoned, and that's already very bad, if not awful. And this mistreatment, this sexist, macho, arrogant, despicable, now we can label it, attitude towards them was ever present. That was the order of the day, and that should be mentioned, probably realized, and think of atonement, think, as I said, of penance, of repenting, of assuming some of that, but not for not for too long. Now I'm just trying to say that perhaps I'm thinking of this because last time around, and then in some other previous little stories of this continuous attempt to beat the record of Scheherazade and have 1001 nights of, in this case, alas, nonsense. I don't have the Aladdin, the Alibaba and the 40 Thieves stories to captivate any audience. Fortunately, it works. There is no audience to annoy, so it's a virtuous spiral. Lame stories for very few people, who some of them might find something here to laugh at. There was a comment I found a few days ago, ludicrous. I had to delete, but then Why watch and take the trouble to write ludicrous? Just find it ludicrous, laugh a little, and then move on and stop watching. Stop watching. But if you find it silly, which it is, I know, I agree. Over the past few days, there were 1,000 clicks from Japan for some reason. I don't know. They were looking for something. PT 109 is a movie I've seen and I've noted on, and maybe there is something I tried to find on the internet, but it can be so many things. PT 09, maybe there's an address, something they try and find, and they stumble on this unconnected notion. So a few notes ago, let's say, on the blog, by the way, there is an order what happened in high school then, but what's the use? I was trying to say with some modesty that well, it was the atmosphere, it was the freedom gain, it was the car, it wasn't us who were so wonderful, so charming and resplendent. Don Giovanni's that conquered the world and mesmerized the women we met in Mamaia on the Black Sea coast here. But then I realized that this is not all that I must admit to. Modesty in saying, okay, there were so many, there were over 1,000, 2,000 women, something which is credited only to those stars in Hollywood. And that doesn't add to their polish, to their stature, it's just perhaps just as bad, because I was thinking it has to be taken further and admitted that in many cases it was evil. It was not something to boast about, but something to I don't have that spirit. That's part of the explanation. That's part of who I still am, maybe rotten to the core, as they say. She says she's upstairs, so don't complain. I had a complaint. You can't hear. I can't talk louder. I rather you do not hear than be heard by the creature upstairs. I'm being mean. So I don't have that urge, desire, that character to go to a monastery and kneel and beat my head against the floor for, like in that Petrarca poem I learned so many years ago. I had this also to use, and I used this in trying to seduce. M-a frăcat cum fost scânteie, clipa în care ne văzum, deși nu e decât femeie, totuși altfel nu știu cum. So in other words, you charmed me, and this is the poem, and then there's Petrarca, that was the music. M-ați intuit în dor și chin iubirea în 21 și mă ține de încă 10 în lacrimi și suspine de când Madonei s-a stins privirea. Am obosit și blestem rătăcirea ce-a stins sămânța vreilor de bine și zilele ce mi-au rămas puține lui Dumnezeu le închin. So I can't I can't say like in this poem, which is not translated, but then maybe we have a mixed audience. We have one viewer who speaks English and one viewer who is from here, and then he or she got that. Okay, I'm just giving it up, and I dedicate myself to God and to punishment for past wrongs, but still, there is this note repentance. Let me think. Tomorrow I'll have to think how I will name this, which is not, I mean, I just throw some name from the belly, as they say here, and then move on, because in the next episodes, the idea is to move to the story of the beauty queen, Miss Romania. I will have to think. I probably will not give a real name, as I did in writing. I mean, in writing, I wrote about these things, the stories that happened to me, or saw them. I saw them, I've been through them, and I invented something with only a small chance. There is a small chance that somebody happens to read about it. You know how these algorithms work now. If you Google her name, you find, of course, 30 entries that mention career and so on, movies she's been in. So, but who knows? Maybe at one point it just happens that, and then she reads it, somebody else reads it, and maybe at this stage it's not something to do. I don't know. On the other hand, I will not. I'm not. I think I'm not going to criticize or say bad things about. I mean, on the whole, maybe she wasn't acting in the best way, especially towards the end. But maybe I didn't deserve it. Probably I did. So there is a possibility that she just used me. But then why not? Haven't I used others after being with her? Had not this I don't know if I'm a monster, but this Machiavellic figure, had not he took advantage, had taken advantage of others. I had been vicious to quite a few, so in other words, maybe I deserve what pain she inflicted on me. Well, we'll see.